Chapter 12, Consequences. It seemed to be a trouble for Megatron to merely walk straight. She kept thinking the leader of the Decepticons was going to collapse, but he kept his boots under him, barely. Lauren gazed at him. Megatron, you're going to collapse. Let me help you. He kept ignoring her. But she knew that he kept hearing her. Look, you won't make it back to your Decepticons without help, Lauren continued. Megatron glared down at her. You sound like a Cybertronian I once knew. Shut up. Lauren nodded. Orion Pax, I know. Just let me help you, really. What could you do, human? You are merely one of Optimus Prime's pets. Megatron hissed. Lauren looked him in the eyes. I know. But this is a different world. A totally different reality. The bots and cons could have a temporary truce until everything is figured out. We don't have to fight. Megatron laughed. Oh, you do sound like Orion, human. It's uncanny. Yuck. Megatron squeezed. Be silent. He hid behind a stone formation, and looked around, to see what it was. Lauren tried to see around, but she couldn't wiggle out of Megatron's grasp. Prime, whispered Megatron. Lauren gasped, then took a deep breath. Oh, Optimus. I told you to be silent, growled Megatron. She saw the 18-wheeler stop, and Optimus transformed. Lauren? Optimus huh? Lauren grunted as Megatron squeezed, to keep her silent. His right cannon transformed, and Optimus began walking towards where the noise has been. Megatron growled, so much for an ambush. He transformed, and rocketed up. Lauren gasped. Something had jumped onto Megatron, then flung him back down. Megatron reverted back to robot form, and Lauren hit the dusty ground, tumbling to a stop, where she saw Megatron tumbling towards her. Ah! Lauren covered her head and curled up, but Megatron ended up tumbling over her. As soon as the dust settled, Lauren jumped up and saw Optimus running towards herself and Megatron. He had his blade drawn. Megatron. Lauren jumped up. Optimus. No, don't attack him. She stood in front of Megatron, arms spread out, protectively. Optimus stopped, and looked at Lauren. What? Optimus, he's weak and practically helpless. They were draining his energon. Lauren shouted. He can't fight back. Megatron shook his head, regaining orientation, and realizing he had lost his hostage. Optimus stepped forward, and grabbed Lauren, before backing away, keeping a cannon aimed at Megatron. How did Megatron? Megatron stood. That is twice you saved my life today, human. Perhaps you are not a pet of Optimus's. Optimus then allowed him to fly away, into the dark. He looked at Lauren, easing out his hand. The Lauren de breath easier. Why you released Megatron? Why? She stood, and didn't really know how to explain herself. Lauren looked down, trying to think of a way to tell him how she hadn't been able to control the impulse. You didn't see him, Optimus. It was like someone had tossed him into a lab and made some cruel experiment out of him. You would have done the same thing. I'd know that better than anyone. And I'm not sorry for what I did. Next time we meet, his circumstances will be drastically different. She shuddered. It reminded me of what Mesh did to Breakdown. Speaking of which, Lauren pushed the red button on her wrist. Silas, do you have eyes on the facility? Static came through, with a voice cutting in and out. KSSSSSH position KSSSSSH. Promised KSSSH at away KZZT. Lauren blinked. Why do I have a bad feeling? Lauren, before this subject expires, next time you are confronted by similar circumstances regarding Megatron, you are to flee. Is that understood? Optimus hissed. Lane blinked. She glared up at him. How could I not, Optimus? How the scrap could I stop myself? She turned away from him. I get bits and pieces of an eon's long life that I never lived. And it wasn't just your memories of being a prime. I can't even explain this. Optimus stared at her. "Lauren, look at me, please." A couple of tears had fallen out of each eye, and she looked at him, biting her bottom lip. "I honestly do not know how to respond. I can't imagine what it must be like for you. Just remember that you are strong," said Optimus. Lauren stared up at him. "What's that supposed to?" A light appeared. Optimus spun around, helicopters inbound. Lawrence sniffled, then looked. "Oh man, and that isn't mesh. Drive, Optimus." He transformed, with Lauren ending up in his passenger seat. "Hold on." A seatbelt came over her. "Okay." Lauren grabbed the seat, as Optimus hit full overdrive. "Can you outrun them?" Optimus didn't reply, but Lauren felt his spark rate climbing. She was suddenly scared, not for herself, but for Optimus. What if they replaced Megatron with him? What if they killed Optimus? Would Optimus fight back, or not? "Optimus, if they catch us they'll replace Megatron with you." "I'm aware," he responded. Lauren looked out Optimus's window, and smiled seeing the helicopters falling behind. "Optimus, we're losing them. Keep up the speed." She sat forward again, only to freeze. "Lauren." Optimus had swerved, trying to avoid the human troops who had been standing in the road, waiting. Some sort of exploding projectile had hit him from the side, then another from the back. Both sent the Autobot flying. "Optimus." He lost vehicular form, sending Lauren flying out as well. Optimus had barely caught her, before tumbling to a stop, and he stopped moving. "Optimus!" Lawrence screamed. She felt the blood oozing from the huge cut in her upper lip. "Get up her!" He had kept his hold of her. I can't breathe." Optimus shook his head, then looked back, getting to his knees. "Optimus, run!" Lawrence screamed at him. Optimus shook his head again, before jumping up, and running. "Where are we going to AGH?" A cable snared Optimus from the right leg, and forced him to fall forward, and drop Lauren. Lauren's stomach lurched, and she saw black spray across her vision. She hit the ground stomach first, then tumbled to her back, before curling into a fetal position, and crying out in pain. It felt like a few her ribs were broken, or at least fractured. Optimus shouted, being pulled back again, and reached for Lauren. "Lauren!" Lauren shook the blackness away, before standing up. "Optimus!" She ran towards him at full speed. The helicopter stopped, as another 4 came around. 3 of them took the position, and fired more cables, one wrapping around each one of Optimus's wrists, and another wrapped around his middle. A dozen black SUVs pulled up from all angles, and men poured out. "Leave him alone!" Lawrence screamed when a man tackled her. "Let me go! Get off me!" He pulled her up, and wrapped an impossibly strong arm around her neck, making black splotches revisit her eyes. Men were shouting things, cruel things, and curse words. Lawrence saw Optimus reaching for her, struggling, but not fighting. Just as the unconsciousness began to win, Lauren remembered. Skyquake had him pinned around the neck, choking him, crushing, trying to kill him. So the vivid each move made, each thought considered. Optimus's boots slipped back, then looked forward, making Dreadwing's knee unlock. Then Optimus, with all his force, shoved both elbows back, leaving a stunning force for only a second, but enough time to grab his arms and flip him over, before bringing a boot down onto his chest to enforce the stunning blow long enough to jump away and regroup. When the vision faded away, Lauren found herself standing over the man who had been choking her. She remembered Optimus, and ran forward again, before jumping in front of the men. "Can't you see? He's not fighting. He isn't fighting back. Stop. Lauren, get out of here," ordered Optimus. "Now." "Scrap no. I'm not gonna abandon you like I did last time," Lauren shouted back at him. The same agent walked forward again, hands in the pockets of black pants, and a trench coat flapping behind him. "Stand down, Miss Courage. You don't have to help them anymore. You are safe." "Listen to me, Agent Woods," Lauren begged. Optimus is our friend. You can't just She gasped. As something bit her neck, Lauren grabbed the thing from her neck, and tried to look closely at the label. But all she could see it was a decent-sized dart, with a neon pink fin. "You are safe, Miss Courage," Wood said in a quiet, manipulative tone. "Just calm down." Lauren's vision blurred in and out. Her arms and legs felt like they were liquid, and she couldn't think. "Lauren?" Optimus asked. "Lauren, what did they do?" "Optimus? Why do I feel so heavy?" Dark, static void was closing in. She saw a small white head reach towards Optimus. Just before there was the sound of a small body going limp, and hitting the ground. Induced sleep overcame Lauren.
Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.